Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Bad Taste. I am Sully, the loud music boy, standing next to two. They've played their gigs. These are two of the gentlemen from Century. This is Carson. This is Todd. We are hanging out at Irish Times across the street from the Worcester Palladium, the single greatest metal venue in New England, because it's that time of year again, New England and Metal Hardcore Festival. Century, new prosthetic band. Carson, this is your band, so to speak. This is your brainchild.
I guess you could say that, yeah.
Yeah. So how did it feel getting up on stage, being your fresh band, fresh on prosthetic for the most part, and getting a crack at the New England Metal and Hardcore Festival crowd?
We had a blast, man. I've never played a show in this capacity, really, in this band, and we were just really humbled and very fortunate to be able to come up and be invited to play. We rarely play, so it was a real treat for us. We played one show last night. Sorry, my voice is shot right now. And then we drove 6 hours last night, stayed over, showed up this morning, and just rocked it. So, yeah, man, we had a blast. It was a lot of fun, and I think we played pretty good. I felt good about it, and people seemed to dig it. So.
Awesome. Now, Century, new band on Prosthetic Records, not a new band as in they just kind of created. You guys have been around since, or Century has been around since 2005. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, going back and reading about you guys, certainly listening to the record, this is really just one of your extra creative outlets. Audio, do your own studio recording,
Sure.
Graphic designing, and what made you decide one day, hey, I need to just put together a band that just is absolutely chaotic and crusty and shitty and just metal.
We are pretty shitty.
And I mean shitty in the best possible way.
Oh, of course.
Not
I take it as a compliment.
Guys just suck. No.
No, you know what? It was really kind of just a culmination of all those interests. My two professional jobs are graphic design and audio production. So it was one of those things where, as my own personal creative outlet, I just wanted to kind of marry the two and do something with that. The first EP that I did myself and we kind of self-released was actually, the artwork was done for it first, and I just really liked the artwork so much I didn't want to sell it to another band to use, so I felt like writing music to it myself, and that was just kind of where that came from. And then actually the idea to make it a full band was a few of the bands that I had recorded. It was just around the time where I started recording bands, and a few of the members of some bands I recorded liked it and thought it would be cool to kind of get a full band together and start playing the songs live. So that's where that kind of came from, and then just snowballed from there and became kind of a real band.
Cool. Todd, how did you find this guy?
I've been friends with them for a couple of years, and it was basically, a couple of people left, and it was like, all right, well, what do you want me to do? And it was like, okay, learn the songs. Cool. And that's basically the extent of it. And I mean, here we are. It's
in lovely Worcester,
Massachusetts at Irish Times.
Yeah, this is actually one of the classy joints in Worcester. I just want to warn you.
It looks somewhat classy.
Yeah.
I mean, we got an Elvis pinball machine back there that I should totally play.
Oh, that is good.
You gotta bump it with your hips though, man.
Oh, I know, totally.
You need the hunka burning love. Get that tilt going there. That Century's different from a lot of other bands in that it's not the five of you kind of hanging out necessarily as a true band, writing songs, constructing songs. It's more of a I don't know, is art project a fair description of it?
Absolutely. The whole band actually is kind of a concept band. The latest record that we put out on Prosthetic is called Black Ocean. There's a whole story to that album is only part one of probably about 10 parts.
10 parts?
Yeah, so basically, without giving away too much, because our plan is to continue the story throughout the next subsequent few albums, but in essence, Black Ocean is a cult, worldwide cult that has certain beliefs about an afterlife and certain beliefs about that God has hidden certain ciphers and puzzles within nature, and the goal of people that are in the cult is to decipher the puzzles, but no one knows why. And then they also have a lottery system of self-sacrifice. and which we covered in the first music video that we did for the song Black Ocean, where someone receives a package with a book in it that no one has ever read, and if they receive this book, then they have to go to a designated area, and they read a passage from the book, and it summons death in the manifestation of a lioness, and the lioness eats them, and they get sent to the afterlife. And a whole bunch of other stuff happens. I don't want to like talk too much about it, I guess, because yeah, our whole plan is we're actually going to be filming a full-length movie about it.
Really?
Yeah, and what we're going to do for the next, the story is going to continue over the next 4 or 5 albums, and we're going to actually segment the movie into parts, so as each video comes out over the next few years, it'll be the next part of the movie, and we're just going to space it out over a few years.
So, Todd, when Carson came to you and kind of said, "Here's the concept," and think of it as a a multi-part story, epic concept, your first thought was?
It's like, okay, that's cool. I think the concept's definitely evolved, even just over the past few months. Like, the more we talk about it, we're like, what if we did this? What if we do this? The whole film idea is kind of a new concept that we've just sort of come up with, and we're like, yeah, it's definitely the way to go. It's definitely going to carry the band.
Kind of pull it all together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, I was going to say, the music is kind of more the soundtrack to the movie. So, I mean, it's a very visually oriented band. You know, all the visuals that we implement are very specific. They're all there for a reason. They all mean something. You know, basically our goal, it's more of an art project. We don't tour full time. You know, we don't play very often. 2 of our members are in another band that's full time. So when we do play, it's fun, but the whole kind of point of the project is purely an artistic, creative outlet for us. So, I mean, we have, you know, families and kids and jobs at home and stuff. So this is one of those things where I don't look at it so much as a band in the traditional sense. In that, you know, we don't depend on it for our income. We don't tour full time. You know, it's more of just purely an art project. So what's cool about that is that it allows us to, you know, detach ourselves from all those things where you depend on the band. And if things don't go very well, you start to resent it, you know, because you're poor, that type of thing. So, you know, we're all pretty grounded, but our heads are just in a creative space where we kind of have to push this material out. And, you know, as long as, you know, we're alive, basically, we're going to continue it. You know, it's not going to be any type of thing where the band ever breaks up. You know, we might have member changes, but, you know, again, not member changes in the traditional sense where someone has a fight or something. There's never been a fight in the band. There's never been.
That's
you know,
a first.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever heard that before.
It's very different. It's more like just kind of like a collective of, you know, certain people. When people can be in a spot in their lives where they can contribute artistically, they do. And when they can't, someone else steps in and collaborates. So that's kind of the idea. Yeah, like I said, we're just going to keep developing it until it's done, until the story is complete, which will probably take about 5 years.
So do you guys see it as a ultimately, where right now, and especially seeing a set, you know, an abbreviated set at Metal Fest probably isn't necessarily the best Century experience, but do you ultimately seeing yourselves turning your performance into a multimedia affair where you guys are throwing it up front and you've got whatever visuals you've got behind you, kind of you telling the story live more than anything else?
Definitely. The visual is what we would like to have basically carry it, and almost like us in the background just performing the soundtrack.
Kind of like gorillas behind a screen. And
kind of, you know, we're very, I mean, it's not like, you know, really 5 guys doing this band. It's like we're one unit,
right,
where the visual should carry everything, and we just, you know.
Yeah, the music is honestly secondary to the whole idea. The concept is really what we were trying to, you know, push out front and actually have be the focal point. So, and, you know, like you were mentioning, like our bios are pretty sparse. I guess I probably gave away a whole lot of shit that I probably shouldn't have in this movie. We're trying to keep it intriguing enough that people who are fans of it and who do dig maybe the music and get into the story through that avenue can appreciate what we're doing on a creative level, you know, bringing you know, several different mediums together. So
awesome. This is a good time now to, you know, kind of collect our heads and think about what we've just heard from these guys. Let's have Evil Dickie throw on another video here on Bad Taste.